welcome friends. Now we have with us a very reputed legal expert, Professor Arafa from Cornell Law Institute, Cornell University in US. And I want to remind you that I had occasion to visit Cornell Law School in year 2022 when I went there as Fulbright Fellow for conducting a research on Innocence project, wrongful conviction and all. Having said that, I am glad today to welcome Professor M. Arafa. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And we had very good relationship, and I am very grateful that you have visited our institute, interacted today with our students and share your vast experience. So I thought appropriate that we should also interact with our audience because your knowledge should spread across and not limited to very few students in the classroom. So with this objective, I thought to have certain queries, a kind of discussion. And I know well that you have a trajectory of studying, born and brought up in Egypt. And then you have a vast experience traveling for your education, then as a professional professor in legal field. You have served also in a legal firm, as I came to know.
That's true.
So I want to know your trajectory of your experience, that how you build up in short form so that our audience may also get inspired and can also think to build their career accordingly.
Sure, that's really a great question. And if I get the time back to me and reminded by all things, it's going to be fascinating because I remember that I got into the law school by inspiration of my father because he's a lawyer. And I got inspired. However, I was intended to go to the School of Political Science. Then the score wasn't that much. So I got to the law school, and my father inspired me at that time to go to the law school. And then, so I completed my first law degree, the bachelor degree at Alexandria Law School, and then I got appointed.
So you did from Egypt?
Yes, the first law degree is from Egypt, the bachelor degree, and then I got to be appointed at the law school teaching assistant there as junior faculty, and then I got to receive this scholarship from the United States, the USAID, to travel to do my master's and SJD at UConn Law School and then Indiana University.
Wow.
So I think it was kind of very interesting to see that a 19-year-old kid just like born and grown up in Egypt and travel by himself alone, and my family at that time was kind of worried about me.
It's fascinating to know about
I think it was kind of, it added a lot of experience to me. I think I learned a lot from this journey. And then when I finished all of my studies there, I started to build up my like academic career down there, like teaching at different law schools. I started to teach in Indiana Law School there in 2012, where I started as a visiting faculty, and then I moved to in 2018 to Cornell Law School as a visitor, which is amazing, which is a great opportunity to meet there in 2022. So it's amazing. I remember when you came and visited me in my office at Cornell, it was amazing. It was in winter, April, it was kind of winter towards the spring, let's say.
Yeah,
so,
correct.
You know Ithaca how it works, but it's amazing. It's amazing journey,
Yeah, but just give some inputs like how you transform yourself, right? Like your destination probably was to practice law, and then you transform yourself in a professional professor in academia.
Sure.
So this transaction, how you correlate with your choice?
I think one of the main things that I learned a lot in the United States about is that I think it's good to mix or to have a combination between academic like professionals or academic career and the practitioner career. I didn't have a chance to practice that much, to be honest. Even with my father back in Egypt, he had a law firm, and my sister practiced with him.
Very
but
good.
Yeah, but I didn't really have a chance. He wanted me to practice with him.
But your destiny was lying somewhere else.
Exactly. I wanted to be in academia. However, in 2018, it was a kind of my, let's say, first official practitioner career when I practiced for 3 months in a law firm in Dubai.
Very good.
And it was kind of interesting to deal with the real practicing thing, and I was dealing with some contractual stuff and things like that. It was kind of interesting to me to know, but I found again myself much more towards academia.
Academia.
Yeah, I think
Your
it's
heart was lying for academia.
kind of.
Yeah.
I got to tell you that, and I think that how it's shaped my career in that area.
Well, you have very wide experience by seeing your CV and interacting you since last many years now, I can say. Though we physically have meeting after Cornell after about 2.5 years,
Right.
but we were in touch, and I was looking at your credentials, academic achievements throughout on social media and all.
Right.
You are here in India since last about 3 months and so.
Yeah.
And this is your first visit.
Yeah.
You have interacted our students in India in legal field and various university you have visited so far, right from North India to South India and then Pune and many more.
Right.
So how do you see and what kind of message you want to want to send to our students that how they should, propel in the legal career, whether they want to be academician, maybe professional in courtroom and all.
I think it's amazing to be here in India. It's my first time. It's a great
Thank you.
experience. I really enjoyed it. When I got the email by late May, I think, 2024, and that I got invited to teach at Chandigarh University as a visiting
Wonderful.
faculty this fall, I said, why not? I do love to travel around the world.
I invited you at that time. I
Yes,
think
exactly.
Destiny
So
has decided just after 2 years.
Exactly. And I always like open to different culture, learning from different people, enjoying and learning about different culture and different diverse people. So I said, okay, so I'm gonna do it. I remember that I just sent an email right away to the professor and they said, I'm happy to come. I was in Saudi Arabia at that time, and it was amazing. So being here, I think it's very amazing because the students are very promising and they are amazing, specifically when it comes to know about different legal system, especially when it comes to the United States legal system and the concept of democracy in the US and the rule of law. Even it's a bit at risk right now, as you know, and as we all know. But I think I found the students are really eager to learn about that. And
Here in India, actually, the competition is very high. So students are very, into how to get the best institute and competitive world is there. So
I saw that specifically being at Chandigarh, Pune, when I visited Symbasius and Christ Law Schools, and now here at the Institute. It's amazing to see how the students, that they are competing with each other in a very great, promising way.
Yeah, that's true.
And they are eagerness to learn, specifically when it comes to international and the comparative law field. I think that's
I
really
also observe the same.
of course, yes. It is amazing to see how they are eager to that and how the fascinating idea. And I got to tell you that every year, and probably you saw that at Cornell, that every year I have a lot of like Indian students in my classroom, and they are doing amazing. And
I have met so
always
many
get them
people
like
that I
A's
was
and
there.
A+ in the classroom, and they are amazing.
Yeah.
So it is amazing to be
So
here.
today you said one very important point which I want to communicate to our audience also. You mentioned one thing that one should learn how to say no in life, and particularly in the field of advocacy or in the legal field. So I want to elaborate in brief for our audience also that how you can build up and to learn to say no.
I think this is very interesting because it was a problem for me to say no. And I mean, I remember myself when I was even starting my law school studies in Egypt, and then I moved to the United States. And it is interesting to learn. I learned a lot from my American friends and American fellows and American colleagues how to say that in a good shape without making anybody upset or something.
That's right.
Because it is very hard. And they really taught me how to do it.
Very right.
And I think it will take a little time for the person to learn this, but I think it's worth it because it's
that's very important for coexistence.
to say no at some point in your life. And at some point, I was like telling, okay, so let's do this, let's do that. And in the middle, you have to say no at some point, specifically when you are in building your career and your academic career and stuff like that. And you will, at some point, you receive a lot of invitations and a lot of things to do and things like that. And at some point, you will not be able to manage all things at the same time. So I was like talking, specifically I talked to my supervisor, I remember at that time, Frank Amrath, and I was like telling him, Frank, I wanted to learn how to say no here. He told me, he's originally German, and you know German, how they act. They say no without any kind of hesitation. They don't care. But I told him, Frank, no, I wanted to know how to say no Not in a German way, but in
But
the
in a
American way.
American way, yeah.
The American way. So I
Good way.
think, I remember, to be honest with you, I remember there is a great friend of mine. I remember when I was studying at UConn Law School when I did my LLM. His name is Adam. And Adam was a great friend. And he told me, let me teach you how to say no here, how we say no here.
Excellent.
So I found it kind of really, they are very professional in terms of disagreeing with each other. It is important, you know, to disagree because this will always enrich a very healthy environment at some point. And we have to do that in a kind of a respectful way. I think it's very amazing.
Very amazing. And I
Yes.
think for the professionals like in legal system or anywhere
Right.
in life, this is an art and science to say no is a very important point. You have
It's
made
very
it.
important, and I got to tell you, like in different places that I have the chance to teach, I think it is a little problem even for the
Yeah.
students because they are shy. I saw it in Australia, I saw it in Brazil, I saw it in the Middle East, I mean, several places around in Europe, and it's a bit tricky, even because they feel that they are kind of shy or so.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
right.
remember I was one of
The
that
same
kid,
type.
of course, of course. You got to learn about it by
that's-
time,
that's
for
very
sure.
right. So now let me come to our own institute.
Sure.
You have visited it since morning. You have spent
Right.
a couple of hours with
Right,
us.
right.
So how do you see our institute, our students, and we are only 1 year old.
Sure.
We are just neonatal in this educational system. But our government has very high vision.
Right.
They want to develop it world-class facility, which we are committed to do so. And in last 1.5 year or so, we have achieved a lot, and that is why you are here.
Sure. I mean, I want
I'm
to
really glad to
congratulate
see
you
you
guys,
here
and thank you
once
for
again.
that.
So
And-
I want to know about your perspective and some words actually for formulate policy,
Right.
because I am the founding director, so it
Right.
will be helpful for me also.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, Goswami, I wanted to say congratulations on being here in the institute and opening that great institute, that
Thank
great
you.
legal institute. I'm sure that a lot of young leaders are sitting around in these rooms, which I saw this morning. It has been amazing to talk to those young leaders that I saw, how promising they are, how eager they are. Specifically, I know that a lot of them, they wanted to be at some point a politician, they wanted to be a police officer, they want to be lawyers, they want to be judges,
Diverse
prosecutors,
careers.
of course. So it's a very diverse legal career, which I think it will be very enriching for the Indian legal community. So I think India have a lot of promising legal leaders, young leader. I got to tell you, I met around for these 3 months, but specifically today when I visit the institute, I found it very pretty amazing to see the competition and the quality of the students, and
Thank you.
to see the faculty and how passionate they are, specifically you as a founding director and also the dean of the law school. And it's really amazing to see how promising they are and how you guys are investing in those young leaders. It is very important.
Thank you
As
for
per
your
our
comment.
discussion, last night over dinner, I remember that we talked about how investing in education will build
That's
great
very good.
societies. And I got to tell you that I really saw that in India in a very good shape. I really
Yeah.
liked it. I enjoyed it because I still can tell that there are a lot of societies, specifically from the region that I grew up, which is the Middle East, need to do more, which I think India can be a good example for us in the Middle East in terms of education, in terms of how we try to invest in the young leader, their freedom to speak and to the eagerness of learning. I think this is really amazing.
Certainly, I think not only our government, but even the parents are very committed for education right from the childhood.
Right.
And they finance the children up to very high level
Yes.
for education and all. So the upbringing of children in India is considered one of the best
I
model across.
realize this is amazing, and I got to tell you that I can see it in the eyes of the students, how eager they are. Their great question that I received today,
Thank you.
specifically
I think
how
it's
they
a comment for
I think,
us.
It's always
And
great.
compliment as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really to be honest with you, I'd like to say that it's always interaction within the classroom and within the visitor or the instructor is the most important thing, because specifically in legal field, because you cannot be shy in the legal field. I
you have
remember
to be expressive.
Exactly. The first experience, I remember when I was in the first class in law school in America, and the students are speaking, and the professor wanted to call on me. You know that they call on students there. And I know that your son is experiencing that right now in UCLA.
He's in UCLA
But
right
yeah,
now.
I know. And this is really at the beginning, it's horrifying. The professor is calling on you, and you are not ready for that because, all of us coming from different cultures,
Yeah,
and we
you are
don't
shy
have this.
and all, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And most of you, we think that the professor is the only one that he got to speak in the classroom, not the students. But I got to tell you that I really learned how to do this and how to speak up in the classroom. They taught me how to do it even now for my students. And this is what I think. I got to tell you that I think my students, I think they like me, let's say that. I mean,
Yeah, you're a very good teacher. I know in the Cornell, I came to know this very well.
Yeah, I think the students there are really interested, specifically when it comes to somebody like having a background from a region they always confused about. Somebody like from the Middle East, and they always hear a lot about the Middle East. And they see like, oh, this kid came here with his journey and stuff, and now he's being with us and working with us and being a part.
So they feel attached with you.
You know, just for me, I think the important thing is being a part of the community that you also connected to, and be a part of that. It will help you a lot. I think I didn't hesitate to be a part of this community. I wasn't like, I wasn't worried to do that kind of step, to take it. It's important to be a part. It is important also to ask if you want to know something, if you are not aware, because they really try to give you the concept of how they lift you up instead of beating you down. So I think that's very, very important. And I saw that here in the eyes of those young leaders, which I'm sure that they were going to do the best for contributing to the Indian community, specifically the legal community. And I wish the Institute all the best, and I wish you specifically all the best.
Thank you very much. Now, my last one question, although I want to have a lot of questions to ask, but there is time limitation as well. We have introduced one concept called law with labs, which is getting coined across people and professionals. I explained to you that we are trying to introduce forensic hands-on training in the legal education and the legal system, because the legal expert, when they go in judiciary, they serve as prosecutor, defender, and many more in a diverse field. So having the first-hand understanding, knowledge in the laboratory, say for example DNA, cyber evidence, and many more. So this difference actually in this legal education, how do you see, because you have seen a vast, arena of legal education. So how do you rate this concept?
I think this is amazing, because I think here it's kind of distinguished that you guys doing this, because I got to tell you, like coming from the Middle East, we don't have this kind of concept. Like integrating the legal concepts or the law with the concept of the lab, specifically with the new modes of evidence like DNA analysis and the digital evidence and all that kind of things, specifically in countries that they are trying to be in transition, as specific after the Arab Spring. We see it in the Middle East, Egypt, Tunisia, Lebanon, and all other countries.
Even US and UK do not have directly this kind of...
No, they don't.
They do not have this facility
exactly.
as well.
And if they have, you will find it very little and limited to specific like clinical courses or advocacy courses, not in the main
for the police
curriculum.
Person courtroom
exactly, not
activities.
for the detectives or for police officers, which I think it is very, very important. And I got to tell you that I think this is going to be very important even for the U.S. law enforcement officials. They need to learn about that.
Yeah, that's very important.
And that's what I found, that your visit to Cornell back in 2022 and then coming back again, it was kind of important and significant, specifically when it comes to the people that they wanted to be in that area and being in the law enforcement field, which is kind of tricky. That's a tricky field, because always there is a kind of a sensitivity when it comes to the application of the rule of law and the concept of human rights. You know that as a police officer. I saw it a lot in my country when it comes to how the police officers try to apply the law and try to make sure that there is no violation for human rights, which is a bit tricky, even in the United States.
Yeah, everywhere I think it's a tricky question.
It's a very questionable and critical matter, but at the same time, I think that the Institute here initiated this and created this kind of great backward of the curriculum will enrich a lot in terms of, let's say, the digital evidence, and how that a lot of legal institutions, including courts, including tribunals, and including other legal institutions, will benefit from this step. So I think the Institute is going to do amazing, specifically when the Institute invite a lot of experts and a lot of people or folks dealing with the field. So I think it's pretty amazing you guys doing here.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
The last thing, some words or some sermon for the legal fraternity, legal students
Sure.
So just in very precise manner, what message you want to convey to the law students?
Be yourself, be confident, try to say no in a very professional way, and always try to be around people that they will lift you up, not to beat you down. With that, I encourage all the legal students and all the legal practitioners to get to know that. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Professor.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
It's
I
a
appreciate
great
it.
time
Thanks
we
for
had
having
today
me.
with
Thank you.
Professor Arafa in our institute UPSIFS Lucknow, and I request him again that we invite him for future also to be our guest, not only in our institute but other institute also. Today, many institutions ask me that can he visit our institute, so he is in great demand, and I promise that in next visit we will have a wide spectrum of your lectures so that the Indian diaspora may get benefited across. And thank you very much once again, Professor.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. My pleasure.
Namaskar.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much for patience listening. I think Professor Arafa has given us a lot of points to ponder, and together we will build our great nation, India, and we will shine across the globe. Thank you very much once again.